So first, how have your constituents been affected by Walz's mandates?
Well, I mean, the main streets in so many of the towns in my district have been, shuttered. Early on it was retail stores, and then of course now it's bars and restaurants that are still closed as of this morning. They can't survive on takeout, and it's really, the economic devastation that the lockdown orders have had is going to be long lasting in my district.
Hmm. Why do you think so many Democrats are unwilling to remove Walz's powers?
Well, actually, I would say that a lot of Democrats are willing to remove Walz's powers. It sounds like we have a majority of House members who are willing to end the powers. And of course, there's several Democrats in the Senate that have joined Republicans in voting multiple times to end the powers. In fact, at the beginning of the session yesterday, uh, Speaker Hortman would not let a resolution come to a vote because there's a majority of House members now that would vote to end it. So what she's doing is changing the rules of the House to prevent us from recalling a bill from committee or recalling the resolution, which normally takes a simple majority. She wants to change the rules so it takes 81 votes to bring that resolution forward for a clean vote. So she's changing the rules because we now have a majority willing to support ending the powers.
Wow. Walz is set to allow bars and restaurants to reopen at half capacity. Do you think that's enough?
Well, I mean, it's helpful, but Walz has several times loosened restrictions on businesses, and then within 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, change the rules again. So many business owners want consistency as opposed to changing it. In the summer, he shut down the restaurants, and then they went out and spent many thousands of dollars buying these large tents and outdoor patio furniture, rearranging their parking lots. And then just a few weeks later, he changed it to allow indoor seating again.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like kicking people when they're down by, having them do one thing and then changing the rules on them. So we need to end the peacetime emergency because we want the legislature to write these rules or any laws that would be around COVID and not allow somebody to just on a whim change it without giving them notice. So it's helpful what he's doing today, but it's not enough. And I think the science has proved these lockdown orders don't work. They haven't produced any different results than we see in neighboring states that don't have these orders. So, I think it's time to end the emergency powers that he has.
Okay. That goes into my next question there. You said that you want Walz's powers removed, but do you still think government should be enforcing how businesses deal with coronavirus?
Well, I certainly think that the government has a role in providing guidelines. I don't think it should go as far as mandates or laws because so many businesses are different. So many restaurants have different layouts. Some are better suited to handle these than others. And so I think we need to allow them to uh, implement their own, rules in their restaurants of how they are going to safely serve the public and protect their employees. And then, of course, the public has a role in determining whether or not they're, healthy enough to go out in public. If they are, you know, if they're the people that we're trying to protect with these lockdowns, they should be staying home.
Yeah.
So we need to have personal responsibility for this and allow business owners to start making decisions for protecting the public and protecting their staff.
You recently posted a song called "You're a Mean One, Mr. Walls," which calls Walls a simple-minded commie, a fascist, and a failure. Do you think rhetoric like that is still a bit much for Minnesota?
Well, people are very frustrated. Obviously, the
Mhm.
song was parody,
Yeah.
and if you go back and listen to the original lyrics of the Grinch, the original lyrics are actually quite in dark and pretty pretty
Yeah.
mean as well. Um, and it was it's a children's show, so we took the lyrics and if we thought it was appropriate, we wanted to do a Christmas Carol with some parody language, but we thought this would be a better a parody to do as governors in other states have been called Grinch in the media. This was important. He was stealing Christmas from people and Thanksgiving and Easter. And so what he's doing with unilateral lawmaking is tyranny. I mean, that is a definition of a tyrant when they take unilateral power, especially during a time of an emergency. And people need to recognize that. So many people say, "Oh, these aren't real laws, and these are just guidelines." Well, according to our laws and the statutes, these are these have the full effect of law, and we have Attorney General Ellison running around threatening to lock people up and running them out of business by giving them $25,000 a day fine. So we need to address this. And if sharing a parody song brings more people into the fold of having this conversation, then it was successful.
Okay. Do you condone businesses opening up despite the enforceable mandates?
I recognize that so many business owners were forced to make a decision of either losing their business forever because of these lockdown orders or reopening. So that was the decision they had to make, and so I support their decision for doing this. I mean, this is we have laws in conflict. We have the Constitution, which is the highest law of the land, saying that the legislature has to write laws, and then we have the governor who thinks he has the power to write law unilaterally. These are in conflict. We need the courts to rule on this, and our court case in state and federal court, they're not getting traction fast enough to get a decision, unlike more than I think a dozen other states that have overturned their executive orders based on them being unconstitutional.
For the people that don't believe that Walz's powers are an issue, do you have anything you'd like to say to them?
Well, congratulations. You are probably an essential worker whose business hasn't been impacted by this. And you're probably enjoying more time at home working remote and ordering all of your stuff online. But for the minority of Minnesotans who are directly and deeply impacted by these orders, I speak for the minority who are fighting for their livelihoods and fighting for fairness in how government treats the people of Minnesota.
You're an admin on the Recall Walls Facebook group, which has 61 something members or 61,000 something members. Do you know why the group went private?
Well, I know that I'm an admin on the page, but
Mm-hmm.
it's but I don't spend much of my time working on that page.
Yeah.
If you're an admin on a page that has more than 50,000 members, it is a lot of work to manage the
Yeah.
page correctly so that you're not having gazillions of posts that are the same, trying to keep people on task, keep it focused in preventing people from kind of overrunning your page and changing its focus. So I don't know why the reason why it went private, but I think it's you've got a group together, got a group of people, and you want to organize them and focus people's efforts. I think that was probably the intent in making it private.
Does the group have any big plans for the future?
Well, obviously, we need to organize for the 2022 election, and that means engaging people and really handing out tasks of what we should be doing, what we should be focusing our efforts on. The recall petitions have been thus far unsuccessful, but we need to harness the energy of everybody in that group to understand what we need to do to take back our state. And so I think really that's what the focus is going to be, not just within that page, but really with all conservatives in the state. We have hundreds of people here at the Capitol today protesting the election results and supporting election integrity and free and fair elections. And they're all asking the same thing: what can we do? And we need to help as a team decide how we should be focusing our efforts in order to improve fairness in elections and to take back our state.
Do you think Minnesota's votes were tallied correctly?
I guess there's a couple things. I think there were some issues with how they were tallied. I also think there were a lot of people that voted that should not have voted, and so there's two different types of two different types of issues. I also think that there's significant issues in how people cast their votes, whether you have legal people voting or not, if they are allowed to cast their ballots. For instance, ballot harvesting is illegal in Minnesota. And if my wife, for instance, brings in a ballot for her grandmother who's in a nursing home, she has to fill out an affidavit saying she had permission to deliver that ballot in person. And she's limited to dropping off 3 ballots for others during an entire election cycle. And we have that law to prevent ballot harvesting. But then when counties set up drop boxes outside of the elections office where you could drop 300 ballots in the drop box, there's no affidavit required, there's no record of that, then it really negates the restriction we have on ballot harvesting, because now you have a law that's unenforceable. And so even though somebody dropping off a ballot into that ballot box, it may have been a legal vote, it was not cast in a legal manner. And that's what's also important, because we can't prove election fraud if we aren't policing the laws we have.
Do you think wild protests like the Hold the Line protests that's happening near you, you think those are a good idea as coronavirus is still going up in those cases at the moment?
Well, I think everybody that goes to a protest takes their personal responsibility. They're, you should not be going to a protest if you have compromised immune systems, if you live with someone who's compromised. These are common sense measures that people need to take.
Yeah.
So I think that people should be allowed to publicly assemble, and there should never be a law banning the public's right to peaceably protest their
I
government.
wasn't meaning, maybe I should have clarified. I wasn't meaning in a law format. I was meaning just in your opinion.
Well, we're outside. Most people were socially distanced over there, other than conversing with the neighbor or something. But I think it's fine. I don't think anyone should be criticizing protests after what happened this summer with after the George Floyd death.
Do you have a message for Governor Walz?
My message for Governor Walz is give it up. I mean, the people are sick and tired of your unilateral lawmaking, and you swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, and that requires 3 co-equal branches of government. You need to restore the legislature's role in governing. And I understand that keeping these powers allows you to unilaterally write law and completely ignore the majority Republican control of the Senate. But the people are sick and tired of this, and you need to give up your power.
One last question. Do you have a message for the people reading, watching, or listening to the interview?
Get involved, stay involved. If you're upset with government, then you should run for office and reach out to legislators that you like to learn how to get involved, because you don't give up on our state. I know that so many people have really thrown in the towel and are just leaving and moving to other states, but we love Minnesota and we want to restore it. We want to restore our Constitution. So please get involved, stay involved, and don't give up.
All right. Thank you very much, Rep Munson.
Yeah.
You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, you too.